Hi, everyone! Most people are exhausted because they're trying to grow their lives in a straight line. They believe that if they work 10% harder, they will get 10% more results. But the universe doesn't work in linear equations. It works in spirals. When I was deep in the world of insurance and finance, I lived by the spreadsheet. I was a slave to the linear grind, trying to force outcomes through sheer willpower and logic. I thought that to double my wealth, I had to double my stress. But that is a lie told by a system that wants to keep you as a battery. The truth is that the entire universe, from the galaxies above to the very DNA inside your cells, follows a specific mathematical command, the Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13 is the divine algorithm of growth. It is the ratio that allows a flower to bloom and a shell to spiral with perfect efficiency. But here is the checkmate. Your DNA is built on this exact same geometry. This means you are biologically designed for exponential expansion, not linear struggle. When I finally stopped chasing metas and started aligning my internal frequency with the Fibonacci spiral, everything changed. My investments, my consultancies, and my time suddenly became golden. I moved from being an employee of the system to being a sovereign strategist of my own energy. In this laboratory, we are going to bridge the gap between this sacred math and the revolutionary work of Jean-Pierre Garnier Malet on the quantum double. I'm going to show you how to use your DNA as an antenna to fetch information from a future version of you that is already thriving. If you are ready to stop fighting the 3D and start coding your reality through the Fibonacci sequence, leave a comment below with the word exponential. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to join this circle of sovereigns. And remember, the links to the books and free materials are in the description. Let's decode the sequence. The divine algorithm, Fibonacci in your DNA. To truly dismantle the Leaden mindset of the corporate world, you must understand that the system you left behind, the world of insurance, high-stakes finance, and rigid hierarchies, is built on a fundamental lie, the lie of linearity. In the Matrix, we are programmed to believe that progress is a slow, agonizing crawl from point A to point B. We are taught that if we want to double our income, we must double our hours. This is what I call the straight line trap. But as I began to audit the mechanics of my own reality, I discovered that nature doesn't use straight lines. From the way a hurricane rotates to the way a petal grows on a flower, the universe uses a specific exponential command, the Fibonacci sequence. This sequence, starting with 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, is the mathematical heartbeat of everything that lives. And the most shocking checkmate of all is that this code is literally written into the dimensions of your DNA. When we look at the double helix of human DNA under a molecular lens, we find that it is 34 angstroms long and 21 angstroms wide for each full cycle of its spiral. If you look at the Fibonacci numbers I just mentioned, 21 and 34 are consecutive numbers in that sequence. Their ratio creates what we call the golden ratio. This means that your very biological hard drive is not a linear storage unit. It is a geometric superconductor designed for expansion. During my years in the insurance market, I was trying to solve a golden problem with a Leaden tool. I was trying to force my life into a 1 + 1 = 2 box, while my DNA was screaming for the exponential leap of 21 to 34. This mismatch is why so many professionals are exhausted. They are vibrating in linear static, while their biology is built for spiral sovereignty. The law of attraction is not a philosophy, it is a tuning protocol.
If your DNA is built according to the Fibonacci sequence, it means you are an antenna specifically designed to receive signals that are in golden harmony. When you are in a state of stress, chasing metas, or worrying about the how, you are effectively bending your antenna. You create a vibrational distortion that prevents the quantum field from delivering the exponential results you desire. In the world of finance, we understand compounding interest, but most fail to realize that vibrational compounding is much more powerful. When you align your intent with the Fibonacci spiral, your results don't just grow, they explode. You stop being a hunter of opportunities and start being the gravity that pulls them in. In my journey as an expert who hacked the financial system, I realized that the sovereign shift only happens when you stop fighting the math of the universe. Your DNA molecules act as tiny crystalline oscillators. Because they follow the proportions of the golden ratio, they have the unique ability to bridge the gap between the physical 3D world and the non-physical quantum field. This is the mechanical secret of the law of attraction. Your DNA is the transceiver that sends your emotional signature into the field and receives the materialization in return. If your signature is one of grind and struggle, you are sending a low-frequency, linear signal that the golden ratio field cannot amplify. You are essentially speaking a dead language to a living universe.
Think about the structure of a pine cone or the arrangement of seeds in a sunflower. They follow the Fibonacci sequence to ensure maximum efficiency and perfect exposure to light. Now, apply this to your wealth and your career transition. When I moved from the corporate grind to managing my own assets and consulting on my own terms, I didn't change my work ethic. I changed my mathematical alignment. I stopped trying to build a ladder and started allowing my life to spiral. This is why my results today are not just better than before, they are of a completely different order of magnitude. I am no longer playing the linear game of the matrix. I am playing the exponential game of the field. The system wants you to stay in the Leaden numbers of 1, 2, and 3. It wants you to stay in the predictable, manageable zones of growth. But the Fibonacci sequence shows us that after the initial slow steps, the jumps become massive: 55, 89, 144. The growth becomes so fast that the system can no longer track you. This is how you become vibrationally invisible to the limitations of the economy or the job market. You are no longer competing for a slice of the pie because you are operating on a frequency that creates its own bakery. Your DNA, structured in the golden ratio, is your golden ticket out of the matrix, provided you stop jamming it with linear fear. When you sit in silence and focus on your state of ASEP, you are not just thinking, you are technically ordering your DNA to resonate with a higher Fibonacci harmonic. You are telling your 70% liquid body to structure itself in a way that can carry more golden information. This is the real meaning of quantum sovereignty. It is the ability to command your biology to exit the linear treadmill and enter the spiral of infinite potential. You are a biological masterpiece of sacred geometry. Every cell in your body is a witness to the fact that you were born to expand without effort, provided you stay in the rhythm. I want you to reconsider your current financial goals. Are you asking for a linear raise, or are you asking for a Fibonacci expansion? If you are still focused on the Leaden steps of how you will get from point A to point B, you are still trapped in the old math. To activate the Fibonacci code in your DNA, you must focus on the result, the golden feeling of already having achieved the expansion. You must allow the universe to handle the spiraling of the events. This is what I did when I left the insurance world. I didn't have a linear map. I had a vibrational compass tuned to the golden ratio, and the field responded by rearranging my reality in ways that no spreadsheet could have ever predicted. As we move deeper into this laboratory, we are going to connect this biological math with the apertures of time described by Jean-Pierre Garnier Malet.
We are going to look at how your DNA antenna uses the Fibonacci spiral to catch the best versions of your future. But for now, you must accept this truth. You are not a machine meant for the grind. You are a crystalline sovereign designed for exponential beauty. The math is already inside you. You just have to stop arguing with it and start vibrating with it.
The corporate trap versus exponential growth. To understand why your current reality might feel stagnant, we have to look at the conflict between the corporate matrix and the Fibonacci spiral. In my previous life, working within the high-stakes world of insurance and finance, I was a prisoner of the linear blueprint. The system is designed to reward the Leaden effort, the idea that you must sacrifice your time, your health, and your energy to achieve a predictable, incremental result. Everything in that world is a straight line: the career ladder, the quarterly goals, the annual raises. But a straight line is a closed system. It has no room for the quantum leap. It has no room for the unexpected gold that the universe wants to deliver. When you live in a linear mindset, you are essentially fighting against the very geometry of your DNA. I remember clearly the days of analyzing risk and calculating premiums. Everything was based on the past. We looked at historical data to predict a linear future. This is the ultimate corporate trap. It keeps you looking backwards, trying to protect what you have instead of expanding into what you could be. This creates a state of vibrational contraction. In the insurance market, you are taught to fear the unexpected. But in the law of attraction, the unexpected is exactly where your abundance lives. By trying to keep everything safe and predictable, I was unknowingly flattening my Fibonacci spiral. I was forcing my life to behave like a spreadsheet when it was meant to behave like a galaxy. The Fibonacci sequence teaches us a different lesson about growth. If you look at the numbers 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, the growth is not constant, it is accelerating. The distance between 1 and 2 is small, but the distance between 13 and 21 is much larger. This is the secret of exponential wealth that I discovered once I hacked my own consciousness. When I was in the corporate world, I was stuck at the 1 and 2 stage because I was using linear effort. I thought that if I wanted more, I had to do more. But the moment I shifted into my role as a sovereign strategist, managing my own energy and assets, I jumped to the 21 and 34 stage. I didn't work 10 times harder, I simply moved further along the spiral. This is the power of the ASAP protocol, already done. When you align with the golden ratio, you stop focusing on the next step and start focusing on the end geometry. In the matrix, you are told to focus on the how, the linear steps you need to take to get out of debt or get that promotion. But the how is the anchor that keeps you in the Leaden frequency. When I decided to leave the insurance world, I didn't have a linear plan. If I had waited for a safe linear path, I would still be sitting in that office today. Instead, I focused on the vibrational end result. I felt the freedom, the sovereignty, and the golden ease of my future self. I tuned my DNA to the 34 and 55 stage of the spiral while I was still physically at the 1 stage. The universe responded with what I call quantum synchronicity. Because I was no longer climbing a ladder, the field didn't have to follow linear rules. Opportunities began to arrive in an exponential fashion. Consultancies that paid 5 times more for a tenth of the work suddenly appeared. My investments began to resonate with the market in ways that my old financial models could never have predicted. This is the difference between working for money and commanding wealth. Money is a linear concept. Wealth is a Fibonacci concept. Money is about addition. Wealth is about multiplication. To move from one to the other, you must be willing to let go of the linear safety net and trust the spiral of your own biology. Think about how a shell is formed. It doesn't decide to grow a specific number of inches every day. It follows the internal code of the golden ratio, expanding as it needs to,
always maintaining its perfect shape. Your life is meant to be the same. When you are in linear stress, you are like a shell trying to grow in a square shape. It's painful, it's inefficient, and it eventually breaks. But when you align with your Fibonacci DNA, your growth feels natural. It feels golden. You stop being exhausted because you are no longer pushing the river. You are the river itself, and you are flowing toward an ocean of infinite potential. I often tell people that the greatest asset I brought from my time in finance wasn't the knowledge of insurance products. It was the realization that the system is a glitch. The matrix is a simulation of scarcity, but the quantum field is an engine of abundance. If you are still trying to win within the matrix by using its linear rules, you will always be tired. You might get the 2 or the 3, but you will never reach the 144. To reach the 144, you have to step out of the line and into the spiral. You have to realize that your energy, your internal golden signature, is the only currency that actually matters. Today, I don't hunt for deals. I structure my energy so that the deals find me. This is the practical application of being a sovereign of the field. I treat my morning routine and my 17-second visualizations as my most important business meetings. I am essentially seeding the next curve of my Fibonacci spiral. I am ensuring that my DNA antenna is clear of the leaden static of the corporate past. And because I am no longer vibrating in the frequency of effort, I am a perfect match for the frequency of exponential results. I want you to audit your own life right now. Are you trying to climb, or are you willing to spiral? Are you still obsessed with the how and the linear steps, or are you ready to jump to the next level of the sequence? The matrix wants you to stay in the small numbers because that's where you are controllable. But your DNA is calling you to the large numbers. It's calling you to the golden ratio of sovereignty. In the next block, we will look at how to use the quantum double to anchor these large numbers into your current reality, ensuring that your transition isn't just a dream, but a mathematical certainty.
The quantum double, navigating the Fibonacci spiral. To master the law of attraction, you must understand that you are not a single entity trapped in a single moment of time. You are a multi-dimensional broadcast. This is where the profound work of Jean-Pierre Garnier Malet and the theory of the quantum double meet the mathematical certainty of the Fibonacci sequence. Malet's discovery about the doubling of time tells us that between every measurable second, there is an imperceptible opening, a quantum window where time accelerates. In these openings, you have a double who is exploring different timelines at an infinite speed. But here is the secret that links it all. The bridge between you and your double is not made of wishes, it is made of the Fibonacci geometry within your DNA. When I was navigating my own transition from the corporate world, I realized that my leaden self was too slow to catch the opportunities I wanted. I was trying to solve 3D problems with 3D speed. But when I began to apply the protocol of the quantum double, I started using my sleep as a sovereign laboratory. Your DNA, because it is built on the golden ratio, acts as a high-tech antenna that remains active while your conscious mind is resting. If you go to sleep in a state of linear fear, worrying about bills or the how of your career, you are sending a fractured signal. But if you align your vibration with the Fibonacci spiral before you drift off, you are giving your double a golden coordinate to follow. You are essentially ordering your double to fetch the timeline where your expansion has already occurred. The connection is mechanical. The Fibonacci sequence represents the path of least resistance in the universe. It is the most efficient way for energy to move. Jean-Pierre Garnier Malet explains that our double brings us information through quantum potential. If you want to collapse the wave of a highly profitable consultancy or a successful investment, you need to be a vibrational match for that golden outcome.
Your DNA antenna, structured in the proportions of 21 and 34, is the only tool capable of receiving this high-frequency information. When you are in linear stress, your antenna is essentially folded. You cannot receive the golden ideas because you are vibrating in the leaden static. This is why in this laboratory, we don't just talk about positive thinking, we talk about frequency engineering. I stopped praying for success and started coding it into my sleep state. I would visualize my results not as a distant point, but as the next inevitable curve in my Fibonacci spiral. I would use the 17-second window of heart-brain coherence to tell my DNA to tune into the frequency of the double who was already managing a sovereign estate. And because the Fibonacci sequence is the language of the divine matrix, the universe had no choice but to respond. The information started coming to me as intuition, a sudden urge to invest here, a random call for a consultancy there. This isn't luck, it's quantum navigation.
You must realize that your double is moving along the Fibonacci spiral of your potentials. There are infinite versions of you. Some are still stuck in the linear 1+1 grind, and some are already at the 144 stage of sovereign freedom. The version you pull into your 3D reality depends entirely on the geometric resonance of your DNA. If you are still holding on to the leaden beliefs of the insurance and finance world, the belief that time is money or that struggle is necessary, you are anchoring your antenna to the low-frequency curves of the spiral. To jump to the gold, you must be willing to vibrate at the frequency of the end result. You must assume the geometry of the version of you that is already free. This level of system hacking is what we are building here. We are moving away from the slave frequency of the matrix and into the golden frequency of sovereignty. If you are ready to stop being a victim of linear time and start navigating the quantum spiral, you need to stay connected to this broadcast. Subscribe to the channel now and become part of this movement of sovereign strategists. When you subscribe, you are signaling to the field that you are no longer a battery for the old system, but a commander of your own timeline. Hit the button and let's amplify this Fibonacci resonance together. The beauty of the quantum double is that it operates in no time. While you spend 8 hours sleeping, your double can explore millions of Fibonacci paths. By the time you wake up, your DNA antenna has downloaded the exact vibrational coordinates needed to manifest your goal. This is how I manage my projects and my assets today. I don't grind for answers, I retrieve them. I treat my sleep as a board meeting with the universe. I ensure that my last thought before sleep is one of golden coherence, aligning my 70% liquid body with the proportions of the golden ratio. This turns my physical form into a magnet for quantum synchronicity. If you feel stuck, it is because you are trying to climb the sequence manually. You are trying to get from 5 to 8 by sheer effort. But the law of attraction, when combined with the knowledge of the Fibonacci DNA, allows you to leap. It allows you to skip the linear steps because you are no longer moving through space, you are folding space. You are using the apertures of time to align your current 1 with your future 144. This is the ultimate checkmate against the matrix. The system cannot stop a being who knows how to navigate the spiral. The system is built for linear beings, but you are a sovereign of the geometry. In the final section, we will discuss the sovereign protocol, the practical daily steps to maintain this golden alignment in the face of 3D challenges. I will show you how to protect your DNA antenna from the leaden interference of the world you left behind, ensuring that your expansion remains permanent and your sovereignty remains absolute. You are the architect of your own spiral. It's time to start building with gold. The Sovereign Protocol, coding your new reality. To conclude this system hack, we must discuss the Sovereign Protocol. This is the practical application of maintaining your Fibonacci alignment while living in a 3D world that is still vibrating in leaden linearity. When I transitioned from the corporate world of insurance and finance, my biggest challenge wasn't understanding the math. It was refusing to glitch back into the old frequency when the 3D world threw a challenge my way.
You must understand that once you begin to align your DNA with the Fibonacci sequence, the matrix will try to re-anchor you. It will send a linear problem, a bill, a delay, or a corporate-minded person to see if you will bite the hook of stress. Your job as a sovereign strategist is to remain in divine indifference and hold the spiral. The protocol begins with the morning calibration. Most people wake up and immediately plug into the linear grid by checking emails or worrying about the day's tasks. This jams your Fibonacci antenna. Instead, you must spend the first minutes of your day reinforcing your golden signature. You must feel your 70% liquid body as a crystalline structure that follows the 21:34 ratio. You are not starting your day. You are initiating your spiral. You are telling the field, I am not a battery for the system today. I am a commander of the golden ratio. This calibration ensures that as you move through your investments and consultancies, you are doing so from a place of a sup, the feeling that the expansion is already mathematically locked into your timeline. In my current life, managing my own assets and working only on projects that resonate with my soul, I use the Fibonacci audit for every decision. If a project feels leaden, meaning it requires linear grind, sacrifice of peace, or chasing, I simply don't do it. I only engage with opportunities that have the golden feel of expansion. This is how you starve the glitch. By refusing to give your energy to linear efforts, you force the universe to provide you with exponential solutions. You are essentially telling the quantum field that you no longer speak the language of 1 + 1. You only speak the language of spirals. And because the universe always mirrors your strongest identity, it will rearrange itself to match your new golden standard. The second part of the protocol is quantum cleaning before sleep. As we discussed with the work of Jean-Pierre Garnier Malet, your sleep is the time when your DNA antenna is most active. Before you drift off, you must erase any linear distortions from your day. If you had a stressful meeting or a financial concern, do not take it into the apertures of time. Use a technique of neutralization. Look at the event and say, this was a linear shadow. I now return to my golden spiral. Then give your quantum double a clear command. Visualize the 144 stage of your goal, the version of you who has already manifested the sovereign freedom you desire. This ensures that while you sleep, your biology is being restructured to collapse that specific reality when you wake up.
Finally, you must embrace the silence of the strategist. Do not talk about your Fibonacci alignment with people who are still trapped in the leaden grind. Their skepticism and linear fear can create vibrational interference for your antenna. Keep your golden code private until it has fully materialized in your 3D world. Your results will be the only testimony you need. When people ask how you achieved such rapid expansion, how you left the system and built a life of freedom, you don't have to explain the math. You can simply smile and say, I stopped fighting the geometry of my own soul. You are the living proof that when you align with the Fibonacci sequence, the law of attraction moves from a hope to a sovereign certainty. Before we close this laboratory, I want to thank you for staying with us until the end, for watching, and for being here with us on this journey. It takes a specialized mind to move beyond the leaden surface of the world and explore the golden math that truly runs our reality. I am deeply grateful for your focus and for the energy you bring to this community of sovereigns. Your commitment to your own evolution is what allows us to keep bringing these high-level protocols to light. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to help us continue this work. Every subscription is a signal to the universe that you are ready for more system-exiting information. Your support allows us to grow this circle of sovereigns and bring the golden ratio to thousands of others who are still looking for a way out.
For those ready to dive deeper into the science of the quantum double and the Fibonacci sequence, I have put the links to the books and free materials in the description below. These tools will help you anchor your new frequency and master the geometry of your own success. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep your antenna clear, your vibration golden, and your spiral expanding.